So today's class is little like you might not be able to understand everything in one go, but I would suggest that keep listening and then go through the videos to understand everything. The whatever will be the main thing, I will try to go slow, and then I'll let you know that this is one of the important things that you have to take care. So, um, yes, till yesterday, what we discussed was at the end we created bulk order using this calculate function, right? And talked little bit about calculate, like how it works and what it is. So I'll again start from the calculate itself so that we don't miss anything. And I will talk like how the entire there are like different steps that happens behind the scene. So I'll talk about all the those steps. Uh, so talking about calculate function, right? Like the other functions that we have discussed. Let me brief. All these functions, sum, average, max, mean, these are like uh, these functions are important, but this is pretty easy to understand, right? Because we can directly write sum and then whichever column we want to do summation, we have to put that inside this one. Similarly, average, max, mean, count, all these are pretty simple functions and easy to understand. Although these are also powerful functions, but these are easy to understand. But then comes related, and then we have like these four functions that is out there. Apart from this, there is one a few more, which is sum x, average x, that I was talking earlier also. I'll talk about that. Sum x and average x are again like similar to the same that we have here, but they it works little bit differently. Like why there is x, I will talk about that, but today we will discuss these. So yesterday I discussed related. In related, what happens is if you want to pull any column from one table into another table, you can use related function. Use related function always within some function. Like when we will discuss filter, we will discuss like how to use this related inside this filter. So this is like inside one function you can use another function as well. I will talk about that. So it is mostly used within a function, not like standalone. We don't usually use related as is, although you can use it. But why don't we use related function like without using filter or any other function? Because whenever you use related, what happens is same column will be pulled into some other table, and since we use related while creating calculated column, it calculated column always stores data in the table, so it will increase the file size also, not that much, but slight increase in the file size. And if you use a lot of related function, then file size will increase a lot. So it's recommended not to use related. uh, uh, Always use related inside some other function, right? Then comes calculate, which we will discuss now. So calculate is one of the most important function here. Why I'm saying that is because using calculate, you can write simple DAX function also, as well as complex DAX functions also. Like in any of the dashboard, which is like very complex or very good, like you have like all those uh, good visualization, complex calculations and everything. So you will see that there are a lot of calculate functions that is available there. So it's important to understand these two three filters, right? Now calculate, what does it mean? So as we discussed yesterday, under calculate, what all we have, the first one is expression. you have to put some expression over here, and then you have to put filters, like all the filters that you want to put. And you can put multiple filters over here, not just one. uh, so let me actually show you the formula once so that you understand. Okay, so what we are trying to do here is, always whenever calculate is used, create a measure, not calculated column. Calculate, using calculate function, you can create a measure, meaning it won't be present in the actual table when you go in the data view. It is it is a function which is used in the values section over here. Okay, so if I write calculate and open parenthesis, what we see here, we see the first argument is expression, right? So here, under expression, what all you can put, either you can put the name of any existing measure, whatever measure you have created, you can put that. Why I am saying that is, the measure that you have created is also some kind of functions you have used, right? Some formula is already there. Okay, so expression or formula, this you can read it as expression or formula. So in the first argument you can put any formula over here, and that formula you can directly write, or you can use any measure also from here, because in measure we have used formula, right? We have used summation, we have used count x, multiple formulas we have used while creating these measures. So under expression, just simply understand, you can use either some formula or name of existing measure, right? Either you can write some DAX formula, or you can directly use the existing measure. That is the first argument, right? Then the second argument is filter. So filter one, meaning you have to put some condition. Like, what does it mean? That you want to calculate the first thing given this condition is met, right? Then you can, after filter one, there is again comma, which means you can put another filter also. So you can have multiple conditions over here. So calculate, meaning, if you think about calculate, what is the English meaning of calculate? English meaning of calculate is, uh do, like, calculate, we tell usually, calculate the sum of these many rows, right? So what does calculate means? Calculate means do the operations, right? The determine what we are telling inside. So what you have to determine, what you have to calculate, you have to calculate this expression given these are the filters that is applied, right? That is the English meaning. Now, if we look into one of the measure that we created yesterday, that is bulk order. I will cancel this because I just wanted to show you like what is the syntax. Let me delete this. So the bulk order, if we see, right, what exactly we put inside calculate? Inside calculate, the first argument that we put is total orders, and from where we pulled it from measure table. That means this argument, the first argument is al already the measure, existing measure that we had created, we have pulled that, right? So total orders, if you see, it's already, we had applied distinct count function, distinct count measure distinct count function that is available to create this total orders measure, right? So in bulk order, we are directly using that total orders. So the first argument is this one, where we put existing measure, then comma, and then the filters. that we have to put, right? So the filter one, what is it? We are saying look into order quantity from sales table. Wherever it's greater than 1, then calculate total orders, right? So we wanted the Power BI to calculate number of total orders, like the distinct count of total orders. Why I'm saying distinct count? Because under total orders, that is the formula we have applied, right? Distinct count of order number, right? So we want Power BI to calculate distinct count of orders given the order quantity is greater than 1, right? That's how the calculate is working. And hence, if you see here, for accessories we have bulk orders, for clothing we have bulk orders, for bikes we don't have. Why? Because we are telling give me the count of orders wherever order quantity is greater than 1. For like whenever somebody orders bike, car, any vehicle, right? Nobody orders like in one go I need 2 bikes. Why would somebody purchase 2 bikes in one go, right? So that's why here we don't see any number, because the condition that we have applied is if order quantity is greater than 1, then count the number of order orders, right? So that is how this calculate is working. Any question till now?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, uh, let me create one more measure using calculate. And then I will talk about different steps to like what happens behind the scenes. Okay. So let me create something called bike returns. Okay. So what I want to write, the function is calculate, open parenthesis, right? Now, there are two things that we want to input. First is expression, then filter. You can input multiple filters because after comma C, there is dot, 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 dot. So you can have multiple filters, multiple conditions over here to evaluate this expression. So the first one I want to, since I am looking for bike returns, I will put total returns that is there. So total returns we have already calculated in the measure table. I will reuse that. That is the existing measure that I am using as an expression in the first argument. Then I put comma because the syntax shows me that I have to put comma after this. Then filter one. So what I want to calculate, I want to calculate total returns given the category is bike, right? Because I want to calculate how many bike returns happened. So I will look into product category name. Let me category name, right? Is equal to bikes. Okay. I'm done with the filter. I will close the parenthesis and hit enter. Now I will pull this bike returns into values. So you see everywhere what we see that there is 427, 427, 427, 427, right? Everywhere it's coming. Now, why it's coming everywhere as 427 doesn't seems right? Because accessories is also 427 returned, clothing is also 427, component is also 427. What is happening over here? I see bike is 427, but everything is 427. So doesn't seem right? So what happens is this might like you might not be able to understand in one go what I am going to tell now, but keep on listening and then uh, go through the videos again. You will understand. So what happened uh, when we didn't had this bike returns? we were having this category name, right? And all these numbers that are being calculated. So we have discussed that measure the values inside, like whatever measure we create, that will the numbers will change depending on what filter we apply over here, right? So instead of category name, if we pull, let's say something else, uh, let me see, maybe single item, multiple items, or some other field from product lookup. Let me pull maybe product name. Okay. Instead of category name, if we pull product name, what happened? Basis on the product name, these numbers changed. So I just want to show that how this works. This works, the total orders, bulk orders, and everything works depending on what filter we applied. So measure recalculate itself basis on the filter that we apply over here, right? Whatever function we write inside these measures, that will be recalculated basis on what filter we apply over here. These rows that is out there, we call it as filter, right? So whatever filter is getting applied over here, depending on that, the measure recalculate itself, right? So that that depending on what, see, if there is nothing, it is giving me entire one number, right? If we will pull something else, it will recalculate itself and it will give me, let's say I pull category name again. So now there are four categories, so the entire value 25 164 got divided into these uh, categories, right? So that is one. The other thing is, now, so now you know that how this works, right? uh, these are getting recalculated, but here under bike returns you see 427 everywhere. Why it is happening? Ideally for accessories there should be different number, because for accessories it should have calculated separately. For bikes it should have calculated separately. All these should have calculated separately, and that number here we should get, right? But that is not happening. So why? Because in calculating bike returns we have used a function called calculate, and inside calculate also we have applied a filter named category name is equal to bike. See, you have category name here also, and inside calculate function also you have category name saying bikes. Now there are two filters under this in this table. If you see the first row, we are saying that filter the entire data for accessories and give me this value. But on the same row, we are saying that calculate total returns if category name is bikes, right? So there are two filters. One is saying filter for accessories, one is saying filter for bikes. Now, which number it should display? There is conflict, right? Because for the same cell, from one side, it's getting like filter the data for accessories and then calculate the total returns. And then from one side, it's telling that filter the data for bikes and then calculate total return, right? So there is conflict for these cells, this cell, first cell, third cell, fourth cell, because there are two filters that is out there. One is clothing, then other is bike. One is component, then other is bike, right? So what happens in such case, wherever this case happens, so I'll talk about like how calculate works and what happens. So, uh, okay. So what happens? The first step is filter context is detected and applied. This is something we have discussed also. So since category name is accessories, what will happen? It will go to the product table, and inside product table in the back end, this entire process is happening in the back end. We don't do anything, but how the number comes, I'm talking about that, right? So what happens as soon as you pull this category name and total returns, whatever, the according to the category names, accessories, bikes, etc. Let's pick accessories. So for accessories, what will happen inside product table? The entire data will be filtered for accessories. We will only access like the data which is related to accessories category. Okay, that would be first step. Then second step, what is happening is, since we are using bike returns as a column, and inside bike returns we are using calculate, so what happens, filters get modified by calculate function, right? So under calculate function we have used category name as bikes. So now what happens, whatever filter was applied first, that was accessories, it changed to bikes. Now the table got filtered for bikes because calculate function took precedence over this filter. So the filter inside calculate took precedence over this filter, and hence the entire data got filtered for bikes. That happened in first step. Then step 2, filter flow downstream to all related tables. So now product table is related to sales table and return table. Like we have created relationship between these in our model view. So now this filter flows to sales data and returns data, and both the table got filtered for bikes. Now, the third step is measure formula evaluates against the filtered table. Now, the returns table is filtered for bikes, right? So, and what we wanted to calculate? We wanted to calculate total returns. If you see here inside measure, we want to calculate total returns given the category name is bikes. So now the data is filtered for bikes and we want to calculate total returns. So the count of rows in returns data table filtered down to only rows where product category is bikes, and though that number of rows is 342 or whatever we had. 427, not 342, that is wrong. 427, and that's why we are seeing 427 here. So for every row, what is happening? For clothing also, what will happen? First, the data will be filtered for clothing, but as soon as it looks into calculate function, it will again be filtered for bikes, and this entire step will happen. So that's why for all the rows we are seeing same value. So through this, what I wanted to tell is, uh, whenever such situation comes wherein you have filter inside calculate as well as the filter inside as well as the filter here, then always the filters inside calculate will take precedence. That is the priority that it will take, and based on that, whatever value will be there, it will display that value. Hence for each row it is showing same value. Okay. uh any question, like, is it, did you guys understand? Any question you guys have?
And no, Mia, I'm trying to understand, but little bit confused. As you
Mhm.
said, we'll refer the video again. Till now, I'm okay.
Okay. Becca, any question? If you want, if you have any question, like you can ask right now as well. I'll reiterate. So that should not be a problem. Is it
Yeah,
clear?
I don't have any question. Like I'm trying to get the idea.
Okay. Okay, fine. So for now, just don't worry. Just think that how does calculate function work? These all things, why I'm discussing, because this will not, this is like one of the scenario that happened, and I wanted to bring that out because many a times happens that you applied some filter inside the function and then pulled, and then you are saying all the values are coming same. What is happening? So that's why I talked about this. This will not happen every time. So don't worry about this. For now, what you guys should focus is like how does calculate functions work and what are the arguments that we put inside calculate. So these are the arguments. The first argument is expression, which means like any measure or a DAX formula that you have to write, and in the other the second argument or maybe like the third argument, all those would be the filters, right? So let's create some other measure as well to get an idea. I will create something called weekend orders. Okay. Weekend orders, and then I will again use calculate function. So under calculate, I will use total orders directly from the measure table. And then what I want to write, I want to write the condition as if from calendar table we are pulling, there is a column called weekend. So what I am trying to do is I am creating a measure using calculate function saying calculate total number of orders if the day is weekend, right? So the filter that we have applied is if the filter is weekend in the table, then calculate total orders. I will hit enter. Let me remove all these and then pull weekend orders. Okay, total orders and weekend orders. And then instead of category name, let me pull So if you see here what happens, under weekend we see 7039, under weekday we see 7039. All these, it's better not to put weekend over here. It's the same thing that was there. So that's why let's have product category for the better understanding. Yeah, so what it is telling me is accessory, these are the categories, right? So for accessories, we have total orders as 16,983, and out of which 4,713 orders were placed in weekend. Similarly for bikes, these many total orders were placed, out of which 3,928 were placed in weekend. Similarly, for clothing, 6,976 orders were placed, out of which 1,963 were placed in weekends. So this is how the weekend function works. Like the measure that we have created works. Now we have few questions or few more measures I will try to discuss. Okay. So let's say I want to create a measure named so okay, so we have created this bike returns, right? So bike returns is total returns if the category name is bike. Let's create something called bike sales, right? So for bike sales, I want to create using calculate function only, right? So can you guys tell me like what all things, I will tell like which particular function, but can you tell me like the syntax of calculate? Anybody can try. Give tell me like what exactly I have to write. I want to create a bike sales measure using calculate function. So Can somebody tell me the syntax? So what exactly is the syntax of calculate? We discussed just now, right? What all, can somebody tell me, like, what is the syntax inside calculate? What are the different arguments that we input?
In the above, it is asking to give the expressions, right? So, mm, whatever I'm thinking, it might be correct or wrong. That's the reason I'm.
No, you can tell me anything that you are thinking of.
Once you would say, Meher, so that I
Okay, no
can.
problem. Okay, no problem. So what we are trying to see here is we are trying to calculate the sales of bike, right? So we have calculate, and inside calculate we have expression and filter, right? So under
Yes.
expression, we can either directly use the measure that we have created, or we can create the DAX formula over here, right? So since we want to look into bike sales, we have to put something here which tells me how many quantities sold, right? Or ordered, right? So we have to put here order quantity, which will tell me that these many quantity was ordered, right? And then filter. So since I want to calculate bike sales, I want to filter, I want to put filter which says that the category is bike, right? So that's what I am doing. Category name is bikes. Okay, and I'll hit enter. So that way we have bike sales and we have bike returns. Now, if I want to calculate bike return rate, basically how many returns are happening out of the entire sales that happened, right? So I will tell bike return rate is equal to calculate. Okay. Rate over here, comma. Return rate is something we created earlier also, right? So we will use that function directly, and then we will put category name is equal to bikes. Because I want to look into bikes return rate, that's why the second filter that we are applying is category name is equal to bikes. Hit enter. Okay. And now I will pull all the fields to show like how the numbers are looking. Okay. So let me pull from here bike returns, bike sales, bike returns, and then bike return rate. Okay. And then let me pull from calendar lookup start of month. Okay, let me actually do it like this. Okay, so what it shows is it shows that on the on each day on start of each of the month 1 1 2015 1 January 2015 1 Feb 2015 and all those, how many total bike was sold, how many was returned, and then uh, what is the return rate, right? So that's how we are calculating this. So return rate is basically, if you see the formula of return rate, what is it? We are saying divide quantity returned by order quantity, right? So meaning that out of 1 minute. Yeah. So we are saying divide quantity returned by order quantity. So 427 quantity was returned, right? So that's what we are seeing over here. Okay. Under, yeah. Now I'm just thinking like why this number is repeating over here. Ideally, it should not repeat because bike returns should be lesser than bike sales. I think something is wrong over here because somebody purchased 184 and how can that person returns 427? So this doesn't make sense. Total returns. Let me quickly have a look. Okay. So from total returns table, we are pulling and we are saying that make it calculated for bikes, right? So ideally, bike returns should be having different numbers altogether. Let me pull this. Everywhere it's saying bike returns as 427, which doesn't seems right. Let me pull something else. Something is not right over here. Let me create this again. Okay, let me see bike sales. Bike sales looks right because on in each month there are different bikes sold, right? So this makes sense. And then out of each of these, we are returning 427, but each month we should return something different. Some other numbers should come here. I am not sure why under bike returns that is happening. So we are saying calculate total returns, right? Return quantity. Okay, okay, okay. Let me check. Total returns. I will go to the return table. Okay. I need to put here some of return quantity. I think that was the miss. It's giving me 429. Okay, this particular formula is not working properly over here. Ideally, it should give me different value. So I'll have a look into this. But okay, I'll look into this bike returns. What is exactly happening over here? Because ideally, the return should be different. Mm, If I make it accessories, let me quickly check. No, there is something wrong in this formula. The way it is getting calculated, or there's something wrong over here. Maybe the relationship, etc. is not right. Bikes. I will have a look and let you guys know what exactly is happening over here. But looks like there's something wrong. If I put into rows.
It has to give 427 value, Meha.
No, not 427. So
Hmm.
ideally what happens is like you yourself think, right? Because for every month there should be different returns, right? Like
Yes, yes,
this doesn't look right. Like on in July also you returned 427 item, in August also you returned 427 item, which doesn't make sense, right? This number
yes.
should be different for each of the row, which is not coming right. So we need to figure out like why it is not coming right. Under returns table, have we applied, like have we connected it to products? Product is connected, and where is calendar? Okay, this calendar table is not connected, so that's why. Mm-hmm. This calendar table is not connected, and that's why it's not working. See, there should be a relationship between the table to work, right? Now it should work. See, so this was the classic example. I'll tell you now what happened. I will delete this relationship and tell you what happened. So we looked into this, right? Here, everywhere we were having bike returns as 427, right? So what was happening? We have two tables. One is return table and one is calendar lookup table, right? We pulled month from calendar lookup table and we pulled bike returns, and bike returns is calculated using which what function? Total returns. Basically, like the total returns is from returns table. So basically there are two columns that we are seeing. One is coming from calendar lookup, other is coming from returns table, right? Other is coming from AW returns. Now these two will interact only when there is a relationship. That is the relationship class that we discussed at that point of time, right? That to, because otherwise it will treat that it is a separate island. This returns table doesn't know that there is some calendar lookup table that is existing, and calendar lookup table doesn't know that there is some returns table that is existing in our database, right? So to interact these tables, we need to create relationship between returns table and calendar table, right? And when I came to the modeling tab, I see we have connection with territory lookup and returns. We have product lookup and returns, but calendar lookup is not related to returns. If you see, there are no relation between calendar and return. Then how both the table will interact, right? So that's why you need to create relationship between two tables. If you are pulling fields from both the table individually and you want them to interact, right? So that's why what I did, I pulled this date field and I dropped it into return date, saying that on whichever return, like on whichever date the return happened, like you give me that the total number of returns of the bike. So now if you see on the month first, there is 26 bike returns. On month second, there is 33 bike returns. So now this is interacting with the month, right? Is it clear, or you guys got confused because of so mess that got created? Is it clear like what happened just now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. The relation was missing.
Correct. Becca, are you there or you
Yeah.
slept?
No, 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 I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
So you understood what happened just now? Like the numbers were repeating
The,
everywhere, right?
yes,
yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing that we discussed, right? Let me now pull everything from, like I will pull everything again, category name, and then let me pull, we pulled orders and we pulled bulk orders, let's say. Okay. And we pulled bike returns. Bike returns or yeah. So now here, this was correct. This discussion that we did, that this is repeating over here, this is correct. Because the concept was that the returns column, bike returns that we have created, here we have used filters inside the calculate function. And that filter will take priority over this filter. Hence, this 427 is repeating here, right? Because we have category name here also, and inside bike returns also we have category name. So this repeat that is happening over here is fine, is correct, because there is a reason behind this repeat, right? But just now what we did, we pulled month from the calendar lookup table. Where is it? Let me pull month from the calendar lookup table, and then we will pull returns, let's say. It should not repeat because that doesn't make sense. Under bike returns, what filter we have? We have category name is equal to bikes, meaning we want to look into total returns if the category is bike, right? So what will happen inside the table, returns table, let's say, what it will do? It will look into month one. It will filter the data for month one, and then it will filter the data for bikes, and whatever number of rows will come, it will give me here. And that's why it's different, because every month there will be different returns, right? Different number of return that will happen. So that's why we have different number of returns over here, which makes sense. Here the number should not repeat, right? Because the filters are different. Here we are applying month, here we are applying bikes. So there is no conflict in this view, and hence the values should not repeat in this case. Got it? Any question?
yeah,
No.
Okay. So now we have bike returns, then we created bike sales, and we created return rate, right? So now if you see, this makes sense to me. What it is saying me is, out of 1192 sales that happened, 26 got returned. So that is this, the return rate percentage. I can make the change over here, make this into percentage. The formatting you can do from here also. So it says me that 2% of bikes were returned in month one. 3.4% of bike was returned in month 11, meaning November month, right? So this is how we have calculated. So before I go ahead, today we have discussed till now only one formula, which is calculate, right? And one thing you need to remember under calculate is calculate function takes multiple arguments. The first argument is the DAX measure, either the DAX measure that you have already created, you can reuse it, or you can write a DAX function over here. Then the second argument is the filter that you want to apply. So we are saying calculate return rate if the category name is bike, right? So in the similar way, we have created other functions as well, and we discussed multiple things here. So I would suggest you can go through all these again in the video and try to like relate what is happening over here. But I think once you start doing practice, you will get to understand like how these functions work. So don't worry too much about this right now. I know this is little bit complex, but you will get there. Because what happens, summation, aggregation, like all those average functions, sum function, all those we do in maths also, right? 2 plus 2 plus 3 is equal to what? But calculate is something new function for you also. So that's why it will take little bit more time to understand, but that should be okay. Don't worry about that, right? Now I will discuss. I'm just thinking, should I continue today or not? Because it will be too much. But let me see what I can talk about. Uh, Let me actually talk about few more calculate related function only so that it's easier for you guys to understand. Let me create like few more uh, measures using calculate. I just don't want to rush and then finish everything and you guys are not able to understand that. Then that doesn't make sense to have class. I will talk about few 2 3 more uh, measure using calculate function, and then we might discuss one or two things and then we will wrap the session. So let me create all returns. Okay. So there is one more function saying all. Okay. So what is this all function? What does it tells me? All function gives me, like, this does not return a single value. It returns a table or subset of table. So it will always be used inside some function, inside calculate function or filter function, right? So how do we use calculate and all together? I will talk about that now. Let's say I create all returns. So first I will use calculate function, calculate, and then what I want to do is I want to calculate total returns. So I will put total returns over here, comma, I want to filter something, right? So let's say in the filter, I'm using one more function which is called all, right? So if I put all and open bracket, what does it show me? It shows me put the table name or column name. Inside this all, either you can put table name or you can put column name. Okay. Now, what does all do? If you put all function over here, then even if any filter is applied over here, like this, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6, the value won't get filtered basis on this filter. This all function removes all the filters that is out there. So let me put all over here and put, let's say I'm putting returns AW returns. This is the table name you can put over here, returns, and then close parenthesis, hit enter. And then if I pull AW returns over here in this, sorry, all returns over here, what do you see? You see these values are repeating. Why? Because we have told that remove any filter that is out there from the all returns formula that we created. So that's why we have applied all. So what does this all function do? This all function removes any filter that is out there. So this is often used when you need unfiltered values that won't react to any changes that we are doing here in filter context, right? Let's say the percentage. I will talk about this here. Let's say the formula of percentage. If you want to calculate percentage of something, percentage of total, Okay, so what is the formula? Percentage of total, let's say. So at the top there will be the numerator would be the value, and denominator will always be same value, which is total. So in the case wherever you need unfiltered values, there you need to use this all function. So it will repeat itself here. It will not interact basis, or it will not change, react basis on the filter context that is out there. Right? So that's why it's repeating itself. So now let me remove sales return rate, bike returns. Let me pull total returns over here. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say I want to look into percentage of all returns. So in every month, we are saying that if there is not in every month, in the entire year, if there is no filter, like the total returns that happened whenever sales happened, the total returns that happened is 1809. And let's say I want to calculate percentage of all returns, right? So let me pull category here. And what I want to know is how percentage of all returns. Like I know that accessories was, if you see 1809 total returns happened, out of which 1115 returned from accessories, 427 got returned from bikes, and 267 got returned from clothing. I want to see out of 100% return that happened, how much percentage got returned from accessories. So how we will calculate that? I know that total returns that happened is 1809. Everywhere it's 1809, right? So we needed this column because I want to calculate percentage of all returns, in which I want to use denominator as all returns without any filter. I didn't wanted any filter in the denominator, right? So let me create percentage of all returns. Here, what I want to do, I want to write divide. Inside divide, you have to put numerator and denominator. So numerator would be total returns and denominator would be all returns that we created just now. Okay. Oh, here it will be comma. I will format this and I will pull it here. Okay, so what it is telling me? It is telling me that out of 100%, 61% of returns happened from accessories, 23% of return happened from bikes, and 14.7% happened from clothing. So if you add this, it will give you 100%, right? So that's what I wanted to calculate. If you want to calculate like how much percentage of total returns happened from accessories, in the denominator I wanted the same number, right? In each row I wanted the same number 1809 to repeat, so that I can use this number in denominator while creating percentage of all returns. And that's when you can use this all function. So inside calculate, one is calculate. Inside calculate, you can put multiple arguments. The first argument should be expression, that is total returns. And then next argument should be filter. Now under filter, we have used again one more function, which is called all. and then put the table name. So this all, what does it do? All removes any filter from the view, right? If you want unfiltered data, then use all. And I wanted unfiltered data. I didn't want this number to react with these filters. So that's why I used all function over here. And that is how, like, we have this here. So that was two of the functions that is available, which is calculate function and all function. All function, if you see here what is written, returns all rows in a table or values in a column, ignoring any filters that have been applied. Even if you apply any filter over here, even if you change, like, these are the filters, right? Basis on this the numbers change, but even if you put these filters, this number won't change because we have used all function inside the formula, right? So, and you know that calculate, the filter inside calculate takes priority over other filters. So that's why this all is getting priority, and these values are not getting filtered basis on any of the filters that is out there, right? So these are the two. I know these two formulas or the functions that we have discussed today is little complex to understand, and it will take time for you guys to use this, but these are important formulas. So that's why I had to cover this. But it's better to revisit this formula, read online, try to incorporate from your end and see how it works, right? So then in that way you will learn faster. Like, go through these videos again, try to incorporate it from your end. If you are not understanding, research online also, like, what does calculate mean, how do we use it, and then read through it, listen to these videos, you will understand, and then you will be able to incorporate. So I'll pause our class right now today here, because we have discussed like very complex things today, right? Calculate and all, these are the two things, and I still have like one or two more things to discuss, which is like, one is filter. Again, inside filter also we will use calculate function with filter. So again, this is also one of the important function that I will discuss. And there is one more thing, which is sum x, average x, all those. We call it as iterator function. So I'll talk about this. So in next class, hopefully, we'll be able to cover all the formulas that is out there, like all the functions that is available. And from next to next class, we will come to visualization, which is the best part, for which we have done all these modeling and data view and all these things, right?
Yeah, Meha, in this visualization, we will use AI, that means artificial intelligence in this.
Uh, we will not use artificial intelligence. We will try to understand what are these. First of all, you need to understand basic visualization, right? What are these? Because these are the most used visualizations available, right?
Mm,
So we will go
okay.
through each one of these, and we will create visualization using this. Okay.
In this visualization also depends upon the data that we have taken, the tables, the relations that we have given. So, on that base only, we will be creating the visualization, right?
Yes. So now there are multiple visualizations over here, right? Now,
Mm,
which visualization is better? Like, when to use which visualization and which data to show in what kind of chart, that is something we will discuss. Like, we can't
okay.
use pie chart everywhere, we can't use bar chart everywhere, when to use line chart. So all those things we will discuss, that when you want to use, let's say, trended data or over months, then it's better to show in line chart. When you want to show the proportion of your data, like your categories, the different product categories, then it's better to show in pie chart. So all those things we will discuss, like when to use which particular chart, which will make sense. right?
Okay,
So
okay, Meha.
yeah, that will be interesting and easy to understand everything. I think our class was very easy to understand. Today was little difficult, I know, because these are like nested functions, and then the functionality is also little complex to understand. But just go through these videos and then we will keep on talking. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, I will discuss. Okay.
Sure, Meha.
Okay, Becca, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I think it's enough for today. No, it's too much.
I know. No worries. You can go through the video and let me know, okay, if you guys have any
Okay.
questions. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
Meha.
Okay, guys, then we can wrap
Thank you.
today's session. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Yeah,
Bye.
so much. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
You too.